Oh boy. So it's 7:03, everybody. We made it. I had to fix an issue where I was dropping a bajillion frames. Let me just make sure everything looks good over here. Do. Okay, yeah, sufficient. So let's skip into it then. It's 4:22, 2 days after 420. Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. And we're back. So we're going to spend an entire, we'll go till 8:03 to make up for the time that we lost uh, due to technological issues. Again, I'm not smart, so it took me a couple minutes to fix this. Um, and it's only fair that we give you guys a little more time. So we're doing Ennis debate moderator today. This is the mono white legendary uncommon from Strixhaven. Good evening, Bill. Happy Earth Day, I guess. I'll buy it. Um, Mono white uncommon, legendary creature. Uh, let's read it first because I have some things to say about this before we get started. White and 1 for legendary creature human cleric. When Ennis enters, exile up to one other target creature control. Return that card to the battlefield under his owner's control at the beginning of the next end step, so it's a delayed flicker trigger. At the beginning of your end step, if one or more cards are put in exile, put a 1/1 counter on Ennis. So I've seen this happen a couple times with Strixhaven, and it pops every once in a while. You see a card and you read it and you think to yourself, this is a strictly worse X, you know. Um, Tam from this set is a strictly worse Tatiova. Ennis debate moderator is a strictly worse soul herder, right? Junie says hello. What people don't understand and what it's important here, I'll look into the camera for this so I address y'all specifically. When people say that a card like this is strictly worse, they don't mean strictly worse. They can't mean strictly worse because it's not strictly worse. It's strictly different. Strictly different. And it's important that if you're going to brew decks to do cool and interesting things, that you understand how they are strictly different and not strictly worse. Ennis is not Soul Herder. It is not a worse Soul Herder. It is a different card. And I will explain to you why I think this card is really cool and different from Soul Herder, which is another cool card. So Soul Herder, obviously, blue, white, 1 for whatever it is. At the end, on your end step, you get to flicker a thing for free, and whenever anything gets exiled, you get a 1/1 counter. So it's an unbound version of this trigger, and it's a consistent version of this trigger. It happens every turn rather than just when this enters. Oh, hello. I don't care about Windows backup. So what does this mean? On its face, Soul Herder might seem like a better card. Sure, I get that. But it's not the same, and it's not strictly better, because Ennis pushes you in a different deck building direction. What I mean by that is when I look at this card, I look at a card like, I see it similar, more similar to a card like Monk of the Open Hand, which is a deck that I have built, which isn't like a super powerhouse deck. It's built to do one very specific thing, and that's meet the condition to put a 1/1 counter on it every turn. And it's a fun puzzle to build the deck around that play pattern. How do you sequence your spells? So Monk of the Open Hand, you want to cast 2 spells a turn to give it a 1/1 counter. How do you build your deck to do that most consistently? That's the fun part of the deck. It's just otherwise a big vanilla creature that you can interact with as you otherwise would. But it's fun sequencing your spells and solving that puzzle. Ennis is the same thing. This is a fun card because it doesn't give you everything for free. You build the deck to maximize this trigger. If one or more cards are put in exile this turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. How do we do that as many turns as possible? Instead of playing just a bunch of random good flicker targets like we would in a Soul Herder deck, we get to play cards that just put things into exile for whatever reason with the intention of making sure that Ennis gets 1 bigger every turn. That's the goal. It is a meager goal, but we are but meager people. We are paupers. We are pauper commanders. Okay? This is the kind of shit that we live for. And if you're not up for this, then get out. Get out. This may not be the format for you. And I say that with my full chest. So, without further ado, let's build an Ennis deck to do as much of this as possible. This is what we care about. We're not going to grind out value. We're just going to do this, and it's going to be fun. So let's start here. We'll get some planes. Let's do like 34 planes. We can probably cut down depending on what we're doing. But we want to start there. I don't think we're going to do a bunch of Mana Rock stuff. We're going to do some Flicker stuff, not necessarily as a way to primarily grind value, but primarily to trigger this and then secondarily grind value. This is the goal. So let's get some 1-mana flicker spells. We got our Cloud Shift. We got our Ephemerate. Hello. There, let's just look at all of them because there's a bunch. Exile, Return, White Spell, Common. All right, Acrobatic Maneuver. Boom. This one's great because it draws you a card. We're gonna play all the flicker spells. We'll even play Befriending the Moths. We'll get to this. This is a whole nother thing that I'll talk about afterwards. Flicker of Fate, a great one. Flicker of Fate is interesting because it can exile enchantments, not necessarily ones that you control, but you can use it to like retarget auras and things, which is pretty cool. Icewind Stalwart, a creature that flickers things. Justicar's Portal, boom. Justiciar's Portal. I don't know how to pronounce words. Otherworldly Journey. This is a delay trigger, but yeah, it works just fine. It cares that it's put in exile, not necessarily that it completes the whole thing. So we'll do Otherworldly Journey. We'll do Pegasus Gordian. Yeah, man, I love puzzles. That's right. That's right, Bill. We're gonna play Salt Skitter too. That's sick. Play Scroll Shift. Subtle Beyond Reality is a little expensive, but we'll play it. Nah, maybe we won't. I want to keep the mana value like reasonable. Okay, so we got these cards. And then we want cards that just go into exile. Like Befriending the Moss and Air of Enlightenment. These are cards that once the saga reaches 3, the card exiles itself and then returns. So this triggers our commander. Befriending the Moss is great because it can give our commander flying until such time as it triggers and exiles itself. It turns into a creature, 2/4 flyer, which is not the worst thing. Air of Enlightenment, scry 2, gain 2. Mono white, like scrying is very good. Obviously, because you don't have like huge card flow in white, so setting the top of your library is pretty valuable. So we will play Air of Enlightenment and we will play Befriending the Moths. Notably, like, this also doesn't mention that it needs to be like a permanent. It could be a card. So, like, if we cast a card with cast a spell with Flashback, for example, that's a card going to exile. If we play a spell that has Rebound, we exile it as it resolves. So there's a lot of different things we can do here to really saturate the deck. And also, like Flickering Spirit and Salt Skitter are good things to have as failsafes, like repeatable, permanent-based ways to do this. Flickering Spirit is just a 2/2 flyer for 4. It's like Blinking Spirit. It's a callback to that. It's just a 2/2 flyer that you can flicker for 4 mana. That's it. And then Salt Skitter is, a Soul Herder All-Star, but does what we want it to here. Whenever another creature enters, it exiles and then comes back. So if we play a creature, this thing will exile and then it'll come back on our end step. And it happens that way on other people's turns as well. Ennis only really cares about our turn. So like it's not nearly as maximized as it would be in a Soul Herder deck, but it does what we want it to do. This may be a card that we cut. But we'll see what our density looks like. Okay, so I guess Journey to Nowhere and like Oblivion Ring are good too, right? Yeah, we can do that. Journey to Nowhere and Oblivion Ring. And these decks are fun. Like the sequencing behind these decks is really fun because you want to be proactive, right? You're encouraged to play like your flicker spells on your turn, which is good. I've said this a million times. It is good to do things on your turn. The games can get really clogged if everybody's just waiting for the same points to interact. Being forced to actually be proactive and commit resources on your turn makes for better gameplay, in my opinion. So, our commander encouraging that is good. We're also going to play some creatures that we want to flicker as well. So we can play like the 1-mana spells to curve 1 into 2 with this. So things like Thraben Inspector, Novice Inspector. I don't think there are many other good like one drops that we want. But let's, did I get a Oblivion Ring too? Yeah, okay, good, we got those. Let's look at just like good value creatures here real quick. Just some stuff to fill it out. Like things that draw cards are obviously really good. We'll play the new card that does the thing. I'll find it eventually. Mana value is important here. Elite Interceptor, we'll play this card. Because this doesn't do a whole lot curving 1 into 2, because if we're just like playing this turn 1 and turn 2 casting Ennis and flickering, it doesn't do anything. However, it is a better flicker target down the road because this the prepared spell is really good. This is like one of the most exciting new cards for Monk of the Open Hand because we're just making a giant creature, and being able to tap down a blocker is pretty sick, especially when it draws us a card. So we're going to play that card. That's a great one. Let's see. Good things that we can flicker. I don't really care about stuff like, Lunarch Veteran or Hindrance Fire. I'm not looking to do the life gain stuff. It's kind of boring. Let's see. So we have Therium Spectre. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot at 1 mana. That's like worth flickering. But let's get some stuff here. We'll play April O'Neil. Another card that I'm working out in Monk of the Open Hand because it's just a great thing to flicker. ATB Scry 2. Scry 2 is really good, especially when there's only so many cards that will enter and replace themselves. This is like the next best thing, and it's kind of what I would like to be doing to keep the card flow, rolling. Aviary Mechanic does not do the same thing as it does in Monk, because Monk just cares about casting 2 spells. So like if you cast this and bounce a creature to your hand, recast that creature, you trigger your creature. This does not do anything with what our commander is doing. It doesn't have like a good ability to flicker with. So we're a little bit more limited in that way. Let's see. Yeah, we'll play like Helpful Hunter and all of those cards. Helpful Hunter, Generous? No, what's the name of the card? Spirited Companion. Kindly Villager. Kindly Customer, that's the one. And there's another one, I think. Let's change this a little bit here. We'll do Visual Spoiler, mana value. Okay. Like the usual suspects of like cards that are good to flicker. Just to take up some space here because we are going to need filler. And this is good filler, honestly. I guess for Fiend's Informant as well. Yeah. Informant will do Priest of Ancient Lore. So like get the hits in here. Airlift Chaplain. I'm not going to go too deep, just like get the stuff that I know is good as a baseline. Oh, let me change the Wayfinder. Oh yeah, Inspiring Overseer. Obviously it's great. Militia Bugler. These are like white flicker deck staples in my opinion. This is the kind of stuff I like to be doing. Obviously, like, we don't have access to Muldrifter, but that's okay. Roving Harper. Yeah, Roving Harper and Sky Scanner are the last 2. We got 2 Overseers, look at that. Okay, so we got that stuff. We're at 63 cards, got a ways to go. Let's look at stuff that exiles things now. Exile. Target. Okay. Want the cheaper stuff first, obviously, because that won't intrude so much into our game plan. I guess Alms is pretty cool. Alms is pretty neat. We'll play Alms. Whoops. Stuff like this is good because it frees up our flicker spells to we can get more flexibility with them rather than being I know I just went on a whole tirade about like how it's good to commit to stuff on your turn, but like having the flexibility of being able to, you know, use your flicker spells as interaction is really good too, like protection spells for stuff. Um, that is good in my opinion. There's a lot of like exile target tapped creature stuff. Stone Rice Spirit is actually kind of sick because not only will this trigger Ennis on our end step, but it also gives a creature flying when you do that. I always kind of like this card. It reads a little awkward, but I think once you understand what it can do, it's pretty easy to get a nice appreciation for it. Thraben Charm Classic goes in. Just like the best white interactive spell ever printed in this format, in my opinion. Um, let's see. A lot of like Banishing Light stuff we could do. It's kind of boring though. I kind of want that as a last resort. I want to get the cool stuff first, and then we'll get the stupid, silly stuff, the boring stuff. Exile one target card from a graveyard. Her creature connives. That's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. I like conniving. I like conniving. Not burning the moths. White Auracite. Just the greatest. I'll never turn me down a white Auracite, that's for sure. This card's just so cool. An Oblivering that's a mana rock. Doesn't get any better than that. We will play this. Ascendant? I don't know how to spell, so. What's it called? Dust Speaker. So this thing just exiles stuff out of graveyards for free. And it's a 3/4 flyer, and it brings a token or a counter. That card's pretty cool. I like that. Oh, we'll play Introduction to Annihilation. A removal spell that I quite like. As you all know, I think it's cool and fun to give your opponents cards. What are we at? 70? Moving right along. It's almost like we didn't waste any time at the beginning of the stream. I don't know if I want to go to this high mana value. We'll probably stop at 5. Zuko's Exile is pretty good too. I'm not sure how many Oblivion Rings I want to play. I like Oblivion Ring because it has like the separated text, so like we can do something like cast it and do the stack trigger for shenanigans with Flicker of Fate. Like we can use Flicker of Fate to actually do that thing, you know, where it enters, you target something to be exiled, then you flicker it to, you know, pass through the leaves trigger, so there's nothing to return, exile something permanently. That's a neat little trick, and I think that's a cool thing to do. Okay, so we got those. Let's look at some mechanics. Specifically, we'll get the rebound cards. Whoops, not rebound cards, just rebound. A lot of these are really good. Ephemerate obviously is like the greatest ever printed. We got 2 really good protection spells in Center Soul and Immersion Scathed. Artful Maneuver is just a good pump spell, a little extra damage, but it does what we want it to do. And then Survival Cache draws us cards, or gains us life at the very least. The card's fine. If you're able to draw a card with it, it's busted. If you're not, it's who cares. We get to, you know, meet our condition with 1 card. Artful Maneuver, Center Soul, Emerge Unscathed. That's the 3. Got that one in the Survival Cache. Okay. Don't mind Ollie. He has a bone and he is licking the crap out of it right in back of me right now. Taylor is out of the country this week and will be for next week as well. So The dogs are all over my ass. Let's look at flashback stuff. There's a couple good ones that I know off the top of my head that I want. Homestead Courage and Dig Site Inventory. Prismatic Strands is also quite good. Let's see. I don't really care about like the tokens. I don't really care about this. This is interesting. Typing up a creature deals. That's a cool spell. Maybe we'll just play like these three. Homestead Courage, Dig Site Inventory. I really like Homestead Courage in general. It's just a really cool card that does a lot of cool things in a lot of different decks. Really efficient. Just puts a 1/1 counter on something, gets a vigilance, and then it has flashback for 1. Having a second version of that card is really, really cool. I'm a big fan of that. We'll play Prismatic Strands as well. Okay. So we got like a lot of things that exile. Okay. So Ennis is going to grow. Make my monster grow. That's what I care about. Let's think. Let's think. What other ways can we put things into exile? Oh, adventures. Whoops, we want type adventure. Adventures, when you cast them, they go to exile. And there are some good ones. We already have Pegasus Guardian. Oh, I like this. I kind of like all of these. Because it doesn't matter, like, what really matters is the actual adventure spell part. This is the part that's going to trigger our commander. They're all reasonably costed. Some of them have good, creature halves that we'll want to utilize. Some probably not, but all of these cards seem really like reasonable. Pump spells are great since we are going to be ultimately a commander damage deck. Being able to get an additional couple points of damage, also untap it to use it as a blocker, like kind of makeshift vigilance. Or we could just have a surprise blocker if we want to, which is also good. A good combat trick here, +2/+1 in flying. Evasion is always perfect. Protection spell, a flicker spell down here. We make a token, which ain't the worst. This is probably like maybe the least impressive one of all of these, but still not terrible. If I need to cut a card from this suite, probably this one. Make a roll token, get a +1/+1 and ward 1. That ain't bad. Tap 2 creatures, ain't bad. I actually really like this card in general. Ardenvale Tactician is like one of my favorite like white aggressive creatures in the format. Just because it's good. It's a well-statted flyer. Like 2/3 is really good. 3 toughness is great because if you're playing an aggressive deck, you don't want to get blown up by something like Breath Weapon, right? It deals 2 damage to all the creatures, or Drown in Sorrow. So 2/3 gets around that. It attacks well, and then it has a really good adventure half that can swing combat by tapping creatures. So it's a really versatile card. Really like it. Plus, like white has tons of cards like white Main Lion that let you rebuy them. Being able to rebuy adventure creatures is a really good source of card advantage. Like being able to cast a white Main Lion, bounce this back to your hand, you get another cast of the Dizzying Swoop. Like it seems really good. I think Guardian Naga like double dips, right? You exile a thing, artifact or enchantment, and also send this card to exile. And then like the creature half is kind of like really pretty hard to deal with. It's a 5/6 that attacks for free every turn. So let's throw all these cards in there. And in fact, let's do type adventure, and we'll just add them all in because there's like 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe I'll come back to this one. It's the worst, but I'm still okay with it. And this is why a card like Ennis is way cooler, in my opinion, than a card like Soul Herder. Not to disparage Soul Herder. Soul Herder is an insane uncommon. Makes for really cool decks. However, like this card is just puts you into such a niche territory. Like look at this motley crew of idiots we have here. Just like that just have synergy with what we want to do. Like we have all kinds of good flicker targets for like the front half. We have tons of ways to put things in exile for the second half. Like one way to get around the card flow problem that white has is you just make sure that all of your cards do what you want them to do, so that you're not drawing dead. And these creatures help facilitate that in a big way. We still got lots of room for other stuff too. What else? Prepared spells don't, because they don't put a card into exile, right? Hold on a second. Let me read the comprehensive rules text here, because there's something about like something going to exile, but it's not a card, so I don't think it would matter. No rulings for this card. That's cool. Okay. You may cast a copy, so it's not the actual card; it's just a copy. Okay, don't care about that. What else can put things into exile? We got rebound. Let me think. I'm sure there's other mechanics out there. I just can't think of them. Let's go back. How much removal do we have? I don't want to go heavy into removal, but I want like some of it. A lot of the exile cards just like are removal. That's the other issue. So we have what 1, 2, 3 Oblivion rings more or less. Like Journey to Nowhere is the same kind of thing. 1, 2, 3 of those. 4 with Thraben Charm. 5 Zuko's Exile. 6 Introduction to Annihilation. Um, that's fine. I don't know if I want to get. Oh, I guess with 7 with Guardian Naga that exiles creatures. Let's look for more. Let's look. Let's add some more creatures in here, just like to get us things. So we'll play Changeling Outcast, and we'll play or Changeling Wayfinder. Sorry, and we'll play whatchamacallit. Right, yeah, Bill. It's a spellcast from exile, but it's not a card. I'm just trying to think of everything that actually cares about exile. And putting things into exile to kind of draw on. But like I said, I'm not smart, so I can only think of a couple things at a time. More things may come to me. I'm sure more things exist, but let's get some creatures with enters abilities. Well, maybe I don't need to search it. We can just do like Pilgrim's Eye, things that just get us cards. Like lands are always good. What is the card? What is the card? What is the card indeed? Enters plains. It's that creature that gets us a plains. You know the one I'm talking about. Pilgrim of the Ages. I guess we could play Core Cartographer as well. Because that just ramps you. Yeah, we'll play Pilgrim and Cartographer. Alright, what's our Careful Clique? Pretty decent. We don't need land cyclers necessarily. Yeah, let's. I mean, this card's kind of boring. I guess we could play it though. Yeah, let's play Alabaster as Intercessor. It's cool. Land cycling is nothing to sneeze at, but it does what we want. So maybe we can play that one. Maybe we can play that one and cut. No, I don't think we need to cut any of this stuff. We got stuff. Okay, 90 cards. We got 10 more to go. Let's see. So we got a bunch of stuff here. We got Pilgrim's Eye. We're not gonna play Skittering Surveyor. I don't think we need to. We've got enough of that stuff. Let's look at more cards that exile things. More cards that have the word exile. Because there might be cards that care about putting things into exile, like our commander does. There might be more redundancy there. Exile up to 2 cards from a single graveyard. Now this card's great. It's a great flicker target. It does what we want it to do. This card's just like insane. Break Ties. Exile non-permanent. Exile Campfire. Exile Buried Treasure from your graveyard. Discover 5. That's pretty cool. Oh. Discovering puts cards into exile. That's cool. Let's look at that. We'll do, I don't think there are any Cascade cards that we can play. Oh, Maelstrom Colossus. Let's throw that guy in there. I love a Maelstrom Colossus. Whether we cast it or not is irrelevant. It's always cool to have one, and Cascade is being able to say like Cascade triggers my commander is a cool thing. So that's why we're going to play it. Let's look at Discover. There's a land that does it. Okay, just these two then. Let's play Buried Treasure. And let's play the Hidden Courtyard. And we'll cut a land for that. Let's get that in there. Okay, that's cool. Back to the Exile search. Okay. Yeah, removal. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, Dauntless Catheter. Oh, yeah, Disturb. I guess Disturb not so much, right? Because that has to die again before it exiles itself. We can play like Dauntless Catheter. And there's a couple cards that have this templating. So we'll play Dauntless Catheter. It's like flashback for a creature. There's a couple other ones that we'll find. Fairgrounds Patrol. And these are good because they're just creatures that we can utilize. And when they die, they just sit in the graveyard until we like are dry on ways to trigger Ennis, and then we can utilize them at that point. That's pretty cool. Gold Meadow Nomad. And they make tokens when they do it. That's pretty neat too. There's at least one or two more, I think. This one's a little sensitive. It requires us to have an enchantment on the battlefield, which I'm not gonna. I don't want a card to ever be dead, so I'm not gonna play it. Yeah, lots of things that like enter and just exile a card. It's kind of lame enough that I don't want to play those things. It doesn't do enough, especially when we have like so many other ways that we can utilize cards to trigger our commander. Sentinel's Eyes is interesting. It's like another repeatable way to exile cards. So it doesn't exile from your graveyard. Yeah, I'll play that one. These things just attack and block, and the way they die, we get to use them for later. They're great. Survivor of Corliss, Exile is great too. I like that one too. And they just attack for free, right? Because if people block them, they'll die immediately, and then we can utilize them. Not going to play this one. This one doesn't do anything. We have to you exile from a graveyard to search for a copy of it, but unfortunately, we only have one on the deck. Okay, I think that's it for that. Okay, we got 97 cards now. This is feeling pretty. This feels a lot like my Monk of the Open Hand deck in the sense that like it feels so disjointed, but when you actually look at what all the cards do, it's like it is in effect like very cohesive. Which is nice. Lots of Oblivion Rings. Too many of them. I'm not going to play any. I don't want to play anymore. Oh, Slip on the Ring, I guess another flicker spell we didn't put in, so we'll do that one too. Soul Shepherd's not bad. Oh, Relic of Progenitus. We'll play that. It's like going to feel weird for a lot of you folks out there. I don't know if you're ready for this one. I think it'll work. I think it'll work. 99 cards, so we need one more. Let's see. It doesn't matter too much at this point. We can play Angelic Purge, actually. Because the reason why I like Angelic Purge here is because we have to sacrifice a thing when we do it, which is just an outlet to get rid of like these cards, put them in our graveyard. So that seems decent. 34 land seems plenty. Let's go ahead and get like all the cycling lands in here. We'll play Caves. We'll play conduit pylons and the surveil lands and all that. Desert of the True, drifting meadow. Hidden Court we have, grotto, idyllic grange, opal palace. I mean, I don't really care about Pathways History. It's just an extra like tap land. I don't know, I'm already playing like a bunch of them, but okay. A lot of colorless lands too. Maybe I'll cut some colorless lands. Basilica. I'll play Dig Site. Okay. Alright, we'll probably want to trim this down a little bit. Yeah, this is a lot of non-basics. This is, 13 of them. That's a lot. Yeah, maybe we don't need like these ones. We'll keep the plus one counter ones, but we'll cut those. Cut that. We'll keep the rest, I think. This is fine. So now we need to cut for 10 lands. So we'll go to 23 planes. Okay. Decent. It's a nice curve. Okay, let's take it for a spin. We got some time. All right, here we go. Look at all this stuff we have. We've got creatures, we've got some spells. We're going to be exiling all kinds of stuff. Right, let's draw for turn. That's perfect. So we're going to do this. Boom. Going to do this. And what we'll do is we'll set ourselves up for next turn here and just get going. So we'll play this card first and draw a card. And then we'll just pass. Not really doing a whole lot. Because we didn't draw a land. So let's just cast Ennis and we'll flicker this. End step, this gets a counter. This returns, we'll draw a card. Plains is perfect, but now we have 9 cards, so we have to discard some. We'll just discard the Docent and Oblivion Ring, most likely. Yeah. All right, now we're just drawing lands, which is great. All right, let's keep all these things over here, and we'll just have Ennis over here. So now we have our 2/2 Ennis, and we'll cast this Stonerise Spirit, and then we will ephemerate a kindly customer. ETB, draw a card. This goes into exile. End step, trigger, counter, boom. All right. Upkeep, ephemerate. I'll draw. And now we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, look at this. This is great. We'll white Auracite. We'll exile like a creature or whatever. Go to combat. We'll attack for 3. End step gets a counter. If we need to, we can emerge unscathed. All right, let's play Study Hall. Cast this Buried Treasure. We're just gonna cash it in pretty soon here. So we'll go like 1, 2, 3, and cast Scroll Shift on this. So flicker, exile, bring it back, draw a card from Scroll Shift. And we have 2 mana left up, so if we need to protect anything, we can. Attack for 4, go to end step, counter. So now is where we can start like utilizing the Stonerise Spirit a little bit better. So let's see what we got here. Got these cards. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 and exile Oblivion Ring to give this flying. So we'll attack for 5 in the air. Yeah, attack for 5 in the air, end step, trigger, boom. Let's cast Survival Cache. 1, 2, 3. Let's say we have the highest life total. We did, everybody. This goes to exile. We'll gain 2 life, draw a card. We'll cycle this, draw a card. All right. Let's just cast Immersion Scathed and give this some protection from whatever we want to attack into. We'll attack, end step, boom, boom. This goes to exile as well. Next turn. During our upkeep, we get to do this again, give this protection. We get to do this again, draw another card. Please go to the graveyard now. And then draw Urge of Return. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll just exile this, and we'll discover 5. Salt Skitter is perfect. I guess I didn't put any. Okay, this goes into exile when we cast it. Okay, so then we'll trigger this. So we'll just go 1, 2. Whoops. 1, 2. We'll flicker the Kindly Customer. I'll draw another card. Drawing a bunch of lands now. Attack, end step. Yeah, this is working out kind of just how I planned. But you see how every turn we have something to do, and every turn we're doing that thing. That's the fun part for me. All right, let's get a hand with some lands in it. Okay. Yeah, this is fine too. All right, so we'll go 1. We'll play Plains. Turn 2. We'll play Captivating Cave, and let's just cast our guy. Let's just do this. Turn 3. We'll go 1, 2. We'll cast Artful Maneuver. Can make this a 3/3 until end of turn. Attack for 3. End step, put a card in exile, so we'll give it a counter. Next turn, upkeep, this comes back, make this a 4/4. Then we can go 1, 2, 3, cast Mechanical Mobster, exile this card, and can have this Connive. So we'll draw, discard Stone Docent, this will trigger an unstep now. So we have a 4/4 to attack with this turn. We'll do that. Boom, roasted. We discarded Docent, right? So it gets another counter. So attack for 5. Perfect. Play Plains. So now we can do this. So we'll cast Stonerise Spirit. And exile this to Surveil 1. We'll put this in the graveyard. Go to combat, attack. Next turn, or end step gets another counter. Then we draw Journey to Nowhere. So perfect, that's great. Now we're at 5 mana, so we can start planning out turns a little bit better now. So we'll Journey to Nowhere the thing. Try blocking now, dummy. Can't block. We'll attack for 4. It's awkward that it gets a counter on your end step, but is what it is. Yeah, attack for 4. Let's see what our options are here. Probably hold these. Yeah, that's fine. Want some Unicorn. It's perfect. Let's consolidate. Yeah, this is a cool deck that really kind of rewards you for thinking ahead. All right, so now we can do this turn. Then we have 2 other ways to exile cards on our next couple turns, which is nice. So let's do that. Let's send this on an adventure. We'll make a token. Where's my night token? There we go. A night token. Oh, it's got a counter, didn't it? We'll attack for 5. End step gets a counter. Yeah, I'll hold this for now. I want to cycle it, honestly, but maybe I should just play it. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kill your thing. Boom, you're roasted. Attack for 6. End step trigger. Kindly Customer's great. Don't mind if I do. Oblivion Ring your thing. Get a trigger here. Attack. Boom. End step gets bigger. And now we can just get a flying and Angelic Purge is great. just have a lot of removal now. Draw a card. Play land. You know what? Oh, I can't do it. But yeah, this is fun. I'm trying to think. Let me think about what we're flickering here. Maybe we don't need these. Like the things that get lands. Because I mean, we see enough cards. Yeah, Pilgrim's Eye was the other one. And play some creatures that put counters on things to help grow our guide more. That sounds cool too. I don't really need to ramp. We play really well on curve, actually. All right. Enters, counter. Let's get some cheapos. So, like backup agent, Iron Paw Aspirant, Jarjong's Deserters, these sorts of things. Yeah. Okay, so let's get those guys in there. Backup agent. Iron Paw Aspirant. Whoops. Chong's Deserters. Yeah, I want bigger creatures instead of lands. Okay, we got some 3s and 4s. What else is in this grouping of creatures? Nothing that interesting. Oh, Weft Blade Enhancer. Oh yeah, Warp. We'll play that. And then what's the other one? There's another Warp creature that makes a token. I want that one too. Another great mechanic that works with what we're doing. Oh, it's exile at the beginning of the next end step. How does that work? How does that work? I don't think it works. This one works particularly well with flicker spells, so maybe we'll keep this one. Nah. Nah, I don't think it works, unfortunately, since we want it to happen before the end step. Huh. Alright, I just need one more like good value creature. This is everything though. It's because I'm not smart, that's why this happened. Ooh, Cavalry Drill Master, that's a good one. This is a cool card. So it's good in Flicker decks. It's a really good offensive card. So a problem with Flicker decks a lot of the time is that they don't close out games very effectively. There's a lot of dirtling, a lot of card advantage, and you just kind of like build an insurmountable like engine and eventually win that way. Cavalry Drill Master really lets you just punch through. Gives a creature +2/+0 on first strike. So like you can cast it, target your thing, attack, you get the bonus, whatever. Then you can keep attacking and always have the threat of flickering this thing and blowing somebody out in combat. Like this card's pretty robust. I like it in a lot of flicker decks if you're looking to get more aggressive, and I think we're gonna do it here. So let's do that then, and take it for, what's 753? We got like maybe one or two more games here. Dealer of the hand, playtest. This hand is awkward, but we'll make it work. Designers, we'll make it work. Opal Palace. All right, so let's start with the cave. Let's start with the palace. Why not? Because we don't need a white source. So let's cast the relic. Turn 2. We're not really doing. Yeah, let's just get Ennis out there. All right. So we're gonna miss a trigger, I think, unless like somebody else. We'll play Dauntless Cathars. Let's say, hypothetically someone else puts a card in the graveyard. We'll exile it here, and step happens. We'll add a counter. All right. All right, now we're business. So what we can do is just go boom, boom. Let's just center solar guy. He attacks. This goes to exile. End step, we get a trigger. Flashback, or cast this again, give him protection again so we can get through in combat. Then what we can do is we can go 1, 2, 3, Angelic Purge, sacrifice this. So we'll use later. Exile a thing on their end, attack for 3. End step, get counter. Let's get the spirit out there. And then we'll also pay 2. And we'll exile this to make a token, a spirit. Attack, end step gets another counter. All right. This is a little redundant when we have relic, but that's okay. Nothing on a flicker right now, so we'll just exile something out of a yard. Keep attacking. We can go get flying if we want to. Just exile this card. End step gets bigger. Hidden Courtyard's good too. All right, we'll just keep doing that, right? We just got stuff we can do. Exile this. Attack. End step gets bigger. We have a big old flyer. Now what we'll do is we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and discover. Nope. Discover 4. Okay, so we'll cast this. Put this on the bottom. Draw a card. This is good. Now I have something to ephemerate too. Yeah, so we'll attack. We'll ephemerate this thing. Goes exile, draw a card. We'll cast this. We'll scry 2. We'll keep both of those on top. Both those cards are pretty sick. Counter here. This happens again. We'll draw a card. Do this. We'll scry 2 again. Oh, it's just so many things. So many things. Let's say we have to cash this in, right? We'll draw a card, exile the cards. We still have stuff to do to put things in exile. We have two, 3 more flicker things. We have an alms as a backup to the thing. Got these cards, which are also quite good. Leave those ones on top. This is just getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. Granted, this is slow, but it's really fun. It's really fun to achieve your goals. That's what we should all should wish for, is to be able to meet all of our goals. And this is my goal, is to put a counter on Ennis every turn. All right, let's draw. Let's go. We got time for one more. It's 7:57, and we're running a little bit, over time tonight, so that's okay. All right, turn 2. Let's slow it down by an extra turn. We'll just play Spirited Companion. Get that online. All right, and now we'll go 1, 2. Here it comes. Exile this. End step. Put a counter on it. It comes back. Draw another card. I have to discard our planes, but that's okay. All right. Yeah, we'll cast Survival Cache. So we'll gain 2, and then we'll draw a card. God, lands. Let's say we can attack somewhere. Boom. End step gets bigger. That's great. So now we can deploy to befriending them. Oh, this happens again. So we can 2-life draw a card. Now we can cast Befriending the Moss and still have enough mana to trigger a guy. So give this +1/+1 flying a ton to turn, and then we'll flicker our Spirited Companion. So we'll draw an extra card. We'll attack for 4, and step gets bigger. Because exile. Next turn, target again. Ephemerate this again. This is the yard. Now we can do this. We can go 1, 2, 3, and we'll cast this. Send to exile, artifact or enchantment or whatever. Attack for 5 in the air. End step, trigger. Exile this, and return transformed. So now we've got our trigger out of the way. We can just do other stuff. So we can cast this Roving Harper, draw an extra card. Let's just cast this Oblivion Ring and remove a thing. Attack, trigger. Yeah, this feels good. We have enough tools to definitely be consistent in making our guy huge. And if somebody kills it, we can just cast it with Study Hall, flicker our guys again. What we can even do is something really cool. Watch this. We can, if someone says, "Oh, I kill your Ennis." Oh no, guys, they've killed our Ennis. We can do this and go 1, 2, 3 to pay for it, and then 1, 2, and so we cast this twice from command zone this game. So 2 counters, and then we get to exile our Imperial Moth. Enters again on the end step. So we miss one, but we get to do it again. End step, this happens, and then next turn we go up to 2, get us flying again. Yeah, that's cool. Flickering sagas is something I haven't done in a while, but really fun. Okay, that's enough. I think I've made my point about how cool this deck can be. Okay, so let's wrap it up. Importantly, to reiterate, this card is not Soul Herder, nor is it trying to be. It's different, and the fact that we built this pile just shows that this card kind of wants you to do different things. I think the limitations of it are what make it the most interesting, and honestly, a card like this is more interesting for me to play than a Soul Herder deck, simply because it's a sequencing puzzle, and I like that. I think that's fun. And so yeah, this card's really cool, and I encourage y'all to play with it, because that's what you do when commanders are cool, right? You'll play with them. So with that, I'll remind y'all that the deck list is going to be in the description, along with the list of all the decks we've built over the last however many years I've been doing this. They're all there as a reference point for all of y'all to do whatever you want with. Below that, you'll find 2 links, one to Trans Lifeline, one to Trevor Project. If you can or are able to, please donate to those organizations. Or if you'd rather, it's always a better idea to give directly to trans people in your life if you find yourself in the situation to do so. So I'll leave you all with that. Thanks for joining me and listening to me to pontificate about Ennis and how much I think it's cool. And hopefully y'all learned something today, because it's a Strixhaven. School is in session. And now school is out of session because it's 8:03 in just a second here, and I gotta go. So thank you all for joining once again. As always, I appreciate you spending your time with me, and I'll see you all next week where we build another deck. So have a wonderful time in the meantime, and I'll see you then.